Okay, here we go. Been a little while. My friends, this has been a fun unit. I know you believe me. I know you think the same way. We got a couple of questions here that we're doing today in class, and I'm just going to kind of work through that in case you missed it or weren't here today. You're going to have your properties packet. Remember, the main thing is learning the algebra rules. So make sure you're using your packet to your advantage, so you know which properties to use when. Make sure you pay attention to things like AB is a diameter. So this line here, AB is a diameter. What does that do? Cuts our circle in half. So this is half the circle, and so is this. Pretty helpful. We know right away that this arc would have to be 70 because 60 plus 50 is 110, and 180 minus 110 would be 70 degrees. Okay, so we know that arc's 70. Some other things we can do, like if you're just getting stuck, guys, keep going around the circle and be like, hey, have I used that yet? We just used the 50, we used the 60, we haven't used the 80. Is there anything we can do with the 80? And this would be recognizing what it is. It is an angle. Where is the vertex of that angle? It's inside the circle. So this is an interior angle that opens up to the 60, and its vertical angle opens up to this arc back here, and I'm going to call that the letter Y. So what are the rules for an interior angle? It's the arc in front of you plus the arc behind you divided by 2 equal the interior angle. So we know that 60 plus Y has to be 160, which means this has to be 100. So that arc has to be 100 degrees. We used our interior angle property. We also know that this is 80. This would have to be 100. And this would have to be 100. All right, and if that's 100, we would know that this arc over here is 80. We now have every arc in the picture, looking good. Once you have every arc, you can get every angle. It's just about going through and figuring out which arcs go with which angles. We are ultimately trying to solve for x. So x is an exterior angle. X opens up to A, that's over here, and x opens up to this spot. That means this 100 is the big arc for x. And so to work on x, we're going to do big arc, 100, minus the small arc, 70, divided by 2. And that's going to equal x. And when you solve that, you're going to get x equals 15. So x would have to be a 15-degree angle. Some good stuff there. All right, second picture, maybe a little bit harder. So first things first is you can't solve for x until you solved for y. The reason I know that is when I tried to solve for y, the letter x was in my answer. So I'm going to kind of get rid of all this just so you can kind of see what you're supposed to be focused on. Pretend all that is gone. Does that look a lot like our chord situation? So we're going to solve this as if all of that is gone. We're going to solve for x using chord rules. And if you recall, chord rules are part times part equals part times part. So first step would be part 4x minus 3 times part 2x minus 2 equals part 3 times part 3x plus 3. So a lot of what we're doing this unit is doing setups so that we can do distribution, combine like terms, and factor. That's going to be the case a lot of the time. So first side, we're going to distribute out. That would be 8x squared. Outside distribution would be minus 8x. Inside would be minus 6x. So remember, we do first with first, then we do outside plus inside, and then we do last with last. So 8x squared minus 14x plus 6. On the other side, distribute the 3, we would get 9x plus 9. Make it equal to 0. That would be 8x squared. Subtract the 9x would be minus 23x. Subtract the 9 would be minus 3. And this one does not reduce, and this has a leading coefficient of 8. So this is about as hard as they get when it comes to factoring. So you can factor this however you want. but I'm gonna stay consistent and keep doing it the same way. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. What factors of negative 24? Since it's negative, they have to subtract and equal 23. Well, that's going to be 1 minus 24. Make my parentheses. I know to make 8, it's either going to be 8 and 1 or 4 and 2. Well, 8 times 3, and 1 times 1 gets the job done. Remember that this is my outside and my inside distribution. It doesn't matter which one's which, but when I do my outside, I get minus 24. When I do my inside, I get plus 1. So I've got the right numbers here. So this is equal to 0. So x equals negative 1/8 and positive 3. Well, we got to test those out. I'm going to take a moment now to maybe do something that we haven't done a lot. But I'm going to take negative 1/8 and I'm going to store it into x. Just to kind of show you this move. So you don't have to watch this part if you don't want. But just to kind of show you this move. So if I take negative 1/8 and store it into x, how did I do that? I typed in negative 1/8, arrow over here, and then this key, this thing right here, arrow, is the store key. And then I go to the x key, this guy right here, right below the alpha key. So it's negative 1/8 stored into x, hit enter, and now my calculator thinks that x is negative 1/8. Now I can plug in these different things. We have 3x plus 3, 2x minus 2. I'm going to type them in and then show you here. But 3x plus 3, hit enter. 4x minus 3, hit enter. And 2x minus 2, hit enter. So what I did here was once I type that in for x, my calculator thinks that is x. Well, this one was okay. But this isn't. A length can't be negative. A length can't be negative. So this cannot be our answer. So it's a quick way to kind of check that negative 1/8 is not going to work. Well, the other option was positive 3. So if I scroll back up to where I typed that in and change it to a 3 and hit enter, it's going to recalculate all those things for me. And those are all acceptable answers. So x equals 3 is an acceptable answer. All right, so that's one way to check our answer if we have a calculator. So it has to be x equals 3. And the good news is it told me the answers. Like it plugged it in. So this is 12. 4x minus 3 when I typed it in was 9. 2x minus 2 is 4. Now we can go to the second phase. What's the second phase? The second phase is to focus in on just the secants. So ignore the rest of the question. We're just focused on the secants. We're going to pretend like this isn't here. This is what we're doing in our mind. We're pretending that's not there. And we're going to solve it as if all we have are the two secants. And the rule for secants is outside times total equals outside times total. So for the first part, that's going to be outside is 4 times the total is y plus 4. Equals on the second one, the outside is 5. When I say total, I mean you're adding these. You're combining like terms. So the outside is 5. The total would be 5 plus 3 plus 12, or 20. So 4y plus 16. Actually, I'm going to do what I taught you guys to do. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. If I divide both sides by 4, these would cancel out. So y plus 4, 20 divided by 4 is 5, equals 25. So y equals 21. Boom! Love to see it. All right. Hopefully some of that made sense. If you didn't know what I did to finish this one, then just solve it the way you know how. All right, guys, I'm going to make another video on the other one real quick.